Well, again, to the best of my knowledge, I don't believe I had any imaginary friends growing up, right? And like I discussed when I reviewed that movie Imaginary, I don't think that was me as a kid. As far as I know, and as far as anyone's told me, I've never had an imaginary friend. But if I did, I would definitely want it to be one of the ones from If, I would hope. Like that movie was actually genuinely awesome, right? The new film from John Krasinski, right? He did A Quiet Place, and I mean, he's come a long way since being in The Office as Jim, and it's so great to see him going down all these different avenues of filmmaking. He's fantastic, right? The imagination of John Krasinski, like, wow. Congratulations. This movie was just phenomenal, right? It's a good kids movie, and it's a good movie for adults. It's just got a lot of good jokes. It's just great. All around, it is just a fantastic movie. I was shocked as to how much I genuinely was enjoying it by like mid-movie, right? But so the movie follows this character B, and she pretty much lost her mom to cancer, right? And John Krasinski plays her dad. He not only does he star in the film, he directed and wrote it, right? It's just all around everyman. So now she is pretty much just devoid of emotion, right? As she's getting older, and she doesn't see herself as a kid because she just doesn't find joy in anything because she lost her mom and they went through a horrible, pain of losing her mom. And now that her father is also sick, it's just, she doesn't want to end up feeling those same feelings again. So she just shuts everything out. And it turns out that in doing so, she is able to just all of a sudden see imaginary friends. So her imagination is actually so grand that she's able to see everybody's imaginary friend, and so she comes across Ryan Reynolds, his character Cal, and this character Blue, who's this giant furry, I don't know what he is, but he's adorable, right? He's like a blue panda, purple panda, I don't know. And they're creating this agency to have ifs, get ifs, find new kids. And ifs stands for imaginary friends, right? I guess it's like their pronoun, I guess you would say. Because, genders were probably not even... you could clearly see some are gendered, but we're not going to get into that. But, their pronoun is pretty much if. So they're trying to get ifs to get new kids that they can be friends with because their kids have either grown up or forgot about them or just, aren't kids anymore. So she ends up kind of feeling bad for these creatures because that's exactly what they are. And so she ends up helping them. And it's kind of funny because, remember, she's so devoid of emotion. She just kind of takes all this in stride that she's meeting all these wacky characters and she just doesn't think twice about it, right? And so she ends up helping them trying to find new kids, and it just doesn't work because ifs are created for a child, and once that child doesn't want them anymore, they're pretty much just going to disappear into nothingness, back into the imagination. And so she ends up developing this idea. She comes up with this idea and developing this plan of finding the ifs original kids and seeing if they can get back in touch with their adult kids, the adult versions of the kids that they were friends with. And by golly, it works. She's able to actually have them meet and kind of console their adult counterparts, their kids, and it's like super wholesome. I just wasn't expecting it to go the routes that it went. And it was genuinely awesome. And the whole shtick of the girl is that she just keeps saying, "I'm not a kid anymore. I'm not a kid," when she's clearly a kid, right? But she's doing things, and walking around at night and hanging out with these strange people and individuals and creatures, acting like she is an adult when she's really not. She's not anywhere equipped to deal with any of this. Yeah, and then she ends up finding out that Ryan Reynolds was actually her imaginary friend, and I like how they kind of subtly make that very, very visible because she's the only one that really interacts with him. No one else interacts with him, and you would assume they would because he's there, or they would ask like who he is, and they never do. And it's, halfway through I was like, he's got to be an if, like he has to be, or like the manager of the ifs, like he has to be some type of magical individual. And sure enough, he was, and because she pushed all of these emotions out of herself, she completely forgot about him. And so when she sees him, he's in this like coat and looking all cool and raggedy, when in reality he's actually like the showman of like the circus in a sense. He was like, that was her best friend. But yeah, it was awesome, and like I said, congratulations to John Krasinski. Gosh, even the trailer got me by using All My Friends from LCD Sound System. That's one of my favorite bands. So kudos. He's like a up and coming new version of, or new styled Edgar Wright, making all these different styles of movies. And he had a stacked cast. I mean, you had everyone from, Vince Vaughn, Sam Rockwell to comedians like Sebastian Maniscalco, Aquafina, Steve Carell played Blue. You had, George Clooney was even in it, all random, Jon Stewart, I mean, it was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. Keegan-Michael Key and, Bill Hader. I mean, everybody was in this movie playing the most randomest creatures, right? They had like a slime ball that was pretty awesome, like an imaginary friend who's a slime. They had the peanut butter and jelly time banana, like this random art teacher that was like, those like little stick marionette dolls that you can like move around and do stuff with, like one of those, a robot, the gummy bear was pretty funny. Amy Schumer being a gummy bear. It's pretty hilarious. And then, of course, my favorite was Keith. Keith was the invisible if, who actually turns out to be B's dad's, like John Krasinski's, if in the movie is an invisible invisible friend. That's absolutely awesome. Comes around full circle at the end, and you're just like, wow, like, you can't help but applaud. But yeah, like I'm really, I was stoked to see this movie because it seemed like it was gonna be a good, kid adult movie. But that's also because it stars Ryan Reynolds and Steve Carell, so I figured it's got to have some heart. After Ryan Reynolds did Spirited with Will Ferrell, oh man, I'm down for anything that he's in that seems like it's got musical elements to it, because they killed it in Spirited, and this movie they killed it in just the atmosphere and the tone of the film. I will say that B was kind of annoying from the beginning to like mid movie, because she's just so devoid of emotion that you're just like, this kid is practically not the Omen, but the orphan. She's pretty much like the orphan, she's like a 30-year-old, 40-year-old, 50-year-old woman with a lot of makeup on who's acting like a 10-year-old, 12-year-old, it's just, she was so like unbearable for a while, but then it's like, as she loosens up, you're like, oh wow, she actually has like, skill and talent and charisma and character. But yeah, I would definitely say check it out. If it's fantastic, Imaginary Friends, bring your kids or just go see it yourself. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic, but it is definitely for all ages. But yeah, this has been Ghost and Craig. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like, share, and subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Starting to see why I live alone. Keith! What kind of a kid creates an invisible if?
And yeah, I would totally probably be the one that has like the invisible if. That'd be awesome. Fucking Keith, god damn it.